Get this though. She said, the CEO was not great. One of the other people you interviewed with shortly left after you did, and I left eventually a couple months later. You dodged a bullet. Back then, I was so angry for not getting that job, and yet the universe all this time was trying to protect me. After leaving the corporate 9-to-5 grind, I became the boss of my own spiritual business, helping others explore and navigate the human experience from insight, wisdom, and lessons learned along the way. Today, I help aspiring spiritual entrepreneurs gain the confidence to share their gifts with the world. Welcome to the Happy Healing Shop podcast. I'm your host, Trang Pham Nguyen, and each week we'll dive into incredible stories of strength, resilience, and transformation. So, if you are ready for some serious breakthroughs, laughs and tears, and stories that will inspire you, you are in the right place, my friend. Let's get started. Hello. So today I'm going to talk about coincidences and give you a couple stories of how it happened in my life. Now, the thing is, some people might call it miracles, blessings, right timing, coincidences, or in a spiritual sense, the universe lining things up perfectly right, or in a very interesting way. Take it however you want, but in case you're questioning on how things are being brought into your path, or you're saying, was this a sign? Was it meant to be? Or there was maybe something more to it. There was so much that had to make this happen. So some people call it luck as well, or chance. I'm going to share with you 4 stories where I am like, this is not just a simple coincidence. First, you're going to be more like short stories. And then the second 2 are more where you realize, oh, the universe is trying to protect me, or the universe was really lining things up so perfectly well. Now, story number 1, I had a friend that had her surgery postponed. Fast forward a couple of months, I moved in, and she happened to have her surgery during that time. And it was such good timing, and it worked out so well because she was in a lot of pain post-surgery, and I was able to take care of her. So overall, that one was just good timing. Second story was when I went to a Latina wellness event. It was in downtown LA, hosted by Poderistas. They were selling single tickets, and then they had a Mother's Day special where it's buy one ticket, get one free for the same price. So of course, I was planning on going anyways, and I bought myself a buy one, get one free ticket. I asked around people that I thought might be interested in going into this type of wellness event. Now, after asking around a couple of people, no one was able to make it. So I just had the spare ticket in my hand. It didn't matter because ticket for one price would have been the same thing anyways. So that Saturday morning, I get in line and I overhear someone eventually saying, hey, can I buy a ticket at the door? And the employee there is going, because you're supposed to buy them online and the sales has ended already. And there's also a certain amount of tickets that can be sold just for space issues, right? So I overhear that. And that's when I say, hey, I have a spare ticket. You can use mine. She literally decided to go that morning and hoping and cross her fingers that she'd be able to get in. If I was not standing at the same part of that line where it winded around, then I never would have heard her say, hey, can I buy a ticket here? Now, the third story here is when the universe was trying to protect me and I didn't even know it. So about 2 years ago, I got laid off from Disney. I also had my mom die that time too. It was really hard and I tried to apply for so many jobs that I was qualified for. After applying for so many jobs, not even getting a call back, I went through 5 rounds of interviews and I felt really good for all of them, except for the one with the CEO. It was a little bit like, it felt rushed. It felt like she had a lot of things on her mind. And then, so I didn't know if I did well or not. Long story short, I did not get that job. I knew I made it to the final 3 at least, but I did not get that job. And what also upset me during that time was in the 5 rounds of interview, there was a project we had to do where we were scheduling a bunch of different events that had different restrictions, different instructors, and they want to see how we would coordinate all of it. So that took some time. Now, one of the interviewers I had, let's call her Anna. At least from what I could pick up on, I could tell that she liked me as a candidate. Now, during this time, I had more of a desperate energy because it's been months that I've been laid off. I remember just thinking, man, I just want a good boss for my next job. Also, how am I going to do this? Being able to juggle work and also do Happy Healing Shop at the same time? Do I do part-time work? Do I do retail work? And fast forward a year later, I was working for a staffing agency as a temp event staff. I wound up talking to another vendor that was working there as well. And we were just casually talking at 6 a.m. when there was no guests in line yet. And this was at box office. So at box office, there's usually like 2-3 different vendors working there. It's usually like a ticketing company like Ticketmaster or Tixer, and then maybe a tech company, and usually the event staffing agency to staff the people that you see at the front desk. So I asked the manager of the company that was doing the tech there that, oh, hey, does so-and-so, are they a full-time employee with you as well? And it's just you two here. And she goes, no, he's actually a contractor. We have a bunch of contractors and we just tell them gigs and say like, hey, are you able to work these days? And we'll fly you in, put you up in a hotel, cover your meals. And then she said, would you be interested? And she later on told me she recognized my work ethic because I was working as a lead for that event. So fast forward, now I'm a contractor for that company. I get paid more than what Disney paid me. I don't have to run around and stress as much as I did at Disney. And they fly me. They fly me to events and gigs. And it's also flexible because they send me an email saying like, these are the dates, these upfront, this is the pay rate, and you get a hotel and this is a stipend for the meals or Ubers or taxis that you need. And I have the flexibility to accept the gig or decline it. And also, the boss is wonderful to work for. Now get this though. I worked a music festival, and on the first day we were being shown around on a golf cart of the grounds area, what things look like, where to set up. And so Anna takes us on this golf cart and I'm like, she looks really familiar. And so I started looking through my old emails just to see her last name in the emails for like the previous interview that we did together. I find the email, but I don't know if this is the Anna I interviewed with before. But in the golf cart, she dropped her ID badge in the back seat where I was sitting. And so I picked it up, I saw it, and it confirmed that it was that same person that interviewed me about 1.5 years prior. So I give it to her, and I kind of waited out a couple of days, maybe towards the middle to end of the festival, and saying like, hey, did you used to work for this company? And she says, yes, I did. And I said, you interviewed me once for the event manager role. And she said, I knew you looked familiar. I actually wanted you. As in, like, she wanted me to be hired. Get this, though. She said, the CEO was not great. One of the other people you interviewed with shortly left after you did. And I left eventually a couple months later. You dodged a bullet. And it's so fascinating how back then I was in such a desperate energy mode that I was so angry for not getting that job, going through the 5 rounds interview and doing the project. And yet the universe all this time was trying to protect me because one of the things I didn't want was to have a bad manager. And instead of getting that full-time virtual job, and I'm not even sure the company is still up and around anymore, but now my job allows me to travel and also gives me flexibility and time to be able to work on the Happy Healing Shop and serve people as well. But what I like about this story is that it came full circle and I was able to find out what happened on the other side, on the other end, and being able to discover that workplace was actually not great in terms of management, and that I dodged a bullet. I dodged months and years of possibly working under another bad boss. So after hearing that, it made me realize to trust in the universe a lot more, even though in that moment you cannot see it, even though you don't know that you're being protected. Now, story number 4 is about how so many things had to align for this to happen. Lately, I've been interested in dancing. It's just something I have not done for many years. And so I actually, in the past, did more of contemporary modern and hip hop, and I knew some ballroom. I actually had Kat, a follower of the Happy Healing Shop, and said, do you want to go to salsa dance and a salsa club? And she showed me how it works, the etiquette and all that kind of stuff, thank God. We took an intermediate dance class, we went to the salsa club and had lots of fun. I can safely say that dancing is my creative outlet. And what I like about ballroom dances or salsa is that there's some form of structure, but at the same time, you can have creativity with it. Now, the second time I went, she was not feeling well, so couldn't make it out. And I said, okay. And I debated. I'm like, do I go by myself? Do I just wait until another time? And I was like, you know what? you always have a good workout and you always seem to enjoy it whenever you go. So just go. So I went. They had a salsa class and also a bachata class. So I took the bachata class. And in it, the teacher shows you a couple moves to do with a partner. And so there's a bunch of guys and a bunch of girls, and we rotate partners. You dance for like 20 seconds to reinforce whatever was taught to you, and then you get rotated and dance with another partner. So eventually you know like everyone's faces in that class, and then afterwards it turns into a club night. So I danced with a couple people that night. It was really fun. And then maybe around 12:30 a.m. I think to myself, well, I guess it's a decent time to go home. So I go to the parking deck. Keep in mind, I've been thinking a lot, oh man, it'd be really nice to be able to have a dance partner to practice with, because it's hard to practice dance moves alone in your room or by yourself at home. And it would be nice to have a dance partner that is around the same level as you and also someone you get along with as a person. So there's a couple factors that play into this. Anyways, so I'm about to go to my car, and all of a sudden, then I see there's another car on the roof of the parking deck. And I see one of the guys sitting in his car looking like he's about to text a friend before he starts heading out. But his door's open, and he sees me and says, hey. And I say, oh, hey, because we recognize each other from class. He gets out the car and we start doing small talk. And we start talking about dances and our experiences at this location, which was really good and really positive. Now get this, turns out he is a ballroom instructor and he teaches ballroom at a studio. Okay, the part that gets very coincidental here is all the factors that had to play in for us to be able to meet each other, right? First of all, one, I went alone. If I went with a friend, most likely I'd be hanging out with a friend, talking with a friend, maybe leaving at another time. And he lived actually kind of far away. He had other dance instructor friends that said, hey, let's come out to this location and dance for the night. As he was already on his way and almost there, his friend bailed and her other friends bailed too because there was a family emergency that came up. So he went by himself. If he was probably with his friends, he probably would have hung out with them, didn't talk to other people as much. And so it was his first time at this location, at this dance location, and he's also never in that area. And we, of course, had to be there on the same night. And we parked on the same floor. And we left the club within like 10 minutes of each other. So we started talking a lot about dance, started doing some dance moves in the parking lot. And then eventually we caught a whiff of food and said, hey, we're both hungry. Let's grab something to eat. So we went to a restaurant that was open till 4 a.m. And we ate and we chatted. And we both agreed that there's so many factors that had to happen in order for us to meet. So I like to think that it's also the universe listening to me saying, hey, it would be really nice if I could find a dance partner to practice with. And here we are. So I hope you enjoyed those 4 stories. I'm sure there will be more of these coincidence or perfect alignment stories. That will be a part 2 in the future. And if you believe in these blessings or coincidences or alignments and want to be surrounded by like-minded people, come check out the Happy Healing Club, which is my monthly membership. We have a lot of healing modalities and tools and monthly events and workshops such as breathwork, Reiki, an archive of guided meditations, our self-healing journal to do the inner work or shadow work. And also we have Happy Hour, which is our most popular event where you connect with everyone, and people have been so kind in our community. I feel really lucky and blessed. It's a really good group. And we also have online courses and free resources at thehappyhealingshop.com. I'll include all those links down below in the show notes. I'd love to hear from you if you have any stories of how things are eerily lined up or coincidence and how you met people or things kind of fell together. Please comment down below, shoot me a DM or an email or message me. And finally, always remember to shine your light brightly and to share your story, because you never know who it can help, give hope to, or inspire to create a change in their own world. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.